Welcome.
Let me talk to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Welcome in, everybody, to Out of Rhythm Fantasy Sports. Yeah, we're just a smudge late, but you know we're gonna actually put in a couple new things for the show to make it our presentation a little bit more kick-ass, fun, and who knows. But welcome in, everybody. I'm Jamie. That's Eli, and yeah, it's Tuesday. It's freaking Tuesday, and it's dark outside already. God damn.
It's getting that time of the year, big boy. It's daylight savings time's coming up in a couple weeks, and
No.
if you got seasonal depression, more reason to watch us. We'll cheer you up.
Ah, God. No.
Not interested.
Not interested.
Yeah, no, man. We're supposed to, up where we're at, we're supposed to get snow this weekend. So
Yeah.
that's already.
Yeah, we are.
Already
Yeah.
started.
Are you nuts?
Yeah. Don't say that. Don't say that stuff. I don't want to see that white fluffy stuff, but god dang. Oh, it's been an interesting weekend. So how did everybody's weekend go? I mean, I know there was a lot of things that happened. Scoring wasn't really great. Running backs were totally shit. I mean, unless you had a couple of wide receivers that went off for you. I mean, other than that, there really wasn't a lot that was kind of going on. But before we kind of get into our recap here, Eli.
You know what? Look, the running backs had a down week. Receivers had a down week for the most part, except our good friend Josh Downs, who we're about to talk about a little later. He had a big week, but everybody was down except Kirk Cousins apparently. So cheer you up, like we were saying. It's getting that time of the year. Cold's kicking in, darkness kicking in. Go back, watch some of our old content. Go over to Spotify. And we're also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean. We're a bunch of different platforms, and we're always commenting on random stuff on Discord. Jamie's over there quite a bit, so that's a great place to find us. And when this show's done, actually, you can go over to our favorite place, Spotify, and rewatch this show. And we are being proven more and more correct as the weeks go on with a lot of these guys that we highlighted during the summertime, one by one. As the season goes on, the one guy we didn't mention. Daryl Henderson Jr. He's back from the dead. That he was completely. Yeah. What? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. He was completely. He was completely off the radar, but he's back. So even more reason. You would have known about Kyron Williams. You would have known about Puka. You would have known about Tank Dell, and the list goes on and on and on about guys that we talked up over the summer. So go back and watch some of that, and and sit back and enjoy this stream. We're going to talk some waivers. Of course, I'm going to give you some DFS bargains. Joe Jay's going to highlight some players. Get into our college spotlight probably about an hour from now, and be Xavier Worthy from Texas. So if you're a Hook'em Horns fan, stick around to the end of the stream and check out what he's about. So
yeah,
lots of good.
Yeah,
Halloween came a week early. Handing out candy for everybody.
Yep. Donovan, nice to see you. Thank you for being here. And yeah, I'm just kind of like
Big D.
I know, right? Oh, good gravy. So I know our weekend was a little before we get too far, I actually kind of you can follow me on Twitter at AutoRhythmFan, which is up there on my screen up there. I've been doing some college stuff here. I've been doing a kind of a weekly trend on Twitter, kind of the top 5 things that's kind of been, I did the last week, top 5 things that's kind of going on with college, kind of like the Washington, and just some trending things that we could see over the weekend. It was kind of like the Caleb Williams thing. USC go in and defeat the Utah Utes, and my gosh, that was a pretty close game. They ended up losing. So yeah, you can go back and you can check that out. And then I actually did a recap on a lot of the games that I actually watched, which is also on Twitter. And if you're actually in our Discord, I actually got that on our Discord as well. So I've been doing, there's a small things I've kind of been doing with the little college scene a little bit too as well. So if you want to go and check those out, you can check those out in Discord and my Twitter feed. So go ahead and check that out too as well.
Yeah, Jay's been doing some great graphics. He's been put kind of up in the content on college. We'd like to do a little more with that, and hopefully that'll come down the line when we're able to add some more content or add a second show. But go check that out. Lots of good stuff over there. And I mean, speaking of college, USC just they got 8-4 written all over them. That defense is atrocious. Caleb just looked dejected on the bench. Like, what more do I need to do? I mean, this team is awful. They were saying like, Clay Helton was the last coach before Lincoln Riley, and he has the same record through 22 games as Lincoln Riley does. They're both 17-5. And Clay Helton, I don't know if you remember a few years ago with college, but Clay Helton was like universally regarded as a bad coach. And so, Lincoln Riley hasn't been much better. I mean, I don't know, but you would have found out about that. And Alabama, Tennessee, that was another good game. Tennessee, they're not going to have as good of a record as last year. Not going to be 10-2 again in the regular season, but it's good to see that a couple years in a row they can hang with the big boys. I mean they're definitely a top 20 at least a top 20 program now. So I mean it's good to see what Josh Heupel's doing there. They can hang with the LSUs and the Alabamas and we'll see what they can do against Georgia in a couple weeks. But lots of goodies from college.
Yeah, I mean Tulane came in. They beat North Texas. That was a pretty huge game there. Ohio State was, I mean, I watched just a little bit of that game. It was, I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. came out and had like 133 yards, a touchdown. Yeah, it was kind of a low scoring game, but they came, so they came in and freaking, he had like 162 yards and a touchdown. Michigan, oh my God. I was actually, we were kind of talking back and forth, or you sent me a message that night, and I was like, just watching some of the games, catching some grub, and McCarthy looked pretty good. He had some help from his Blake Corum. Roman Wilson, he had a little bit of in touch with this, and they beat, Michigan beat Michigan State 49-0. So I mean, I had the Michigan State defense that was pretty stout. Tennessee, right? Tennessee now, Tennessee, they actually, I thought they were actually going to win this game, but they really didn't. Milton had a rushing touchdown this game. He had 59 yards on the ground. He threw for 271 yards, but they just, Squirrel White kind of contributed a little bit with 10 receptions, 111 yards, no touchdown though. But I mean, it was a pretty close game. They lost that one. Texas beat Houston. That was a pretty close game. And then we talked to, UNC Caleb Williams was, he looked kind of defeated in this game. I mean, they came back with, the defense had a touchdown for them late. But, initially, I know Barnes, the Utah, pretty much the quarterback.
Third string quarterback. Beating the all-powerful Lincoln Riley and USC, man. That's the third time in a row that Utah's beat USC in the last couple years. So they own renting real estate in their head, I guess. I don't know.
Yep. Sorry, his story checks out. It's all in the Discord channel. Yep. Thank you, Donovan. Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
We tell no lies here.
Yeah. Yes.
What's happening, man?
Appreciate you actually joining. He actually just joined our Discord here just the other day. He's in one of our basketball. It's on Sleeper, and I think he joined the one on Yahoo too as well. So I mean, so if you guys are into baseball too, I knew even though this was a football show, I mean, we have some basketball stuff in there too. So I do a little, both Ian and I, we do a little basketball too as well. But the first game is actually playing right now. I did a DFS lineup too as well tonight. But yeah,
so Lakers and Nuggets.
Yeah, that game's on right now. It's on the TV in the other room. So when we're done here, I might go check some of that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys can, please like and if you guys haven't, subscribe to us, like the video, and join our Discord too as well. It's all down below. So I mean, come in, join. Tunes just joined just the other day. He's giving me crap about we have our first matchup together. So he's giving me crap already and whatnot. So I mean, it's always fun times. Yep. I thought Pittsburgh. I'll just finish up this recap. Pittsburgh, they struggled a little bit. Valix had a couple touchdowns, but even though they lost to Wake Forest, yeah, Pittsburgh, I was kind of excited to kind of see them play a little bit, since they had Pickens there and see what kind of offense they would have without him being there. And it was a pretty close game. Colorado State,
They've really
lost. Go ahead.
I was going to say quick, Jay, about the Pittsburgh program. I mean, just think 2 years ago, they had Kenny Pickett at quarterback and Jordan Addison at receiver.
Yeah, they did.
They can get high level players there in the ACC. Florida State's great, obviously, and UNC was until this past weekend. But there's no reason why Pittsburgh can't be a top 5 ACC program. Get up there and get some more recruits in there.
Yeah, I think they struggle a little bit. I mean, if you got teams like Oregon State, it's you would think Colorado State with, I mean, they were kind of a ranked team there for the last couple of weeks and they fell out, so I mean, it's kind of one of those things, Minnesota, I mean, they're not a bad football team either, and they had some great prospects. I mean, they had the running back last year that came out. He was with can't remember where he signed. I don't know if it was the Patriots or something. They cut him and then Detroit picked him up. Oh no, he was a free agent. I think didn't get drafted. He was with one team and then he got signed by the Lions there, and he was like 1,000 some odd yard running back last year. I mean, Oregon State, dude, they barely snipped across, Washington State Cougars. That game was a pretty well electric. Mix had Joe Mixon, or not Joe Mixon. It all sounds the same. Bo Nix, actually, he had a rushing touchdown in there. He had, I think, I'm trying to think what else.
Oh, you meant Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon.
Not
yeah,
Oregon
no,
State. Yep.
No, they played Washington State. They played the Cougars, so that game was pretty electric. Bucky Irvin, he ran all over the Cougars, 129 yards, 15 carries. He had 3 touchdowns. Tez Johnson had a touchdown, 94 yards with 6 receptions in that game. We kind of talked about Utah game. They, Bryce Barnes played he played a crucial role in leading the Utes to a victory. In the fourth quarter, he actually set up the winning kick. He ran for 19 yards to actually get that set up, which was plain insane. The running back, Jada Quinn Jackson, he rushed for about 177 yards on freaking USC, which is insane. He didn't have a touchdown, but Sion Balke, he had 5 receptions for 149 yards and he scored 2 touchdowns. So Utah was just, without them having, their main, quarterback anymore, so I mean, he's out for the season, even though he's a prospect for the NFL draft this year too as well.
Cam Rising.
Yep. Yes, Cam Rising. Yeah. I didn't think I was gonna be talking about some of these guys, but talking about this anyways. And Washington, they looked horrible. I was watching that game. That game looked shitty. I mean, they barely put up any points, any yards. I mean, Penix struggled a lot. He threw 2 interceptions. He was actually below his normal average of 400 yards per game. The offense just totally struggled. Polk had 9 grabs for 102 yards, no touchdowns, but Odunze had only 82 yards, 5 receptions. But the Huskies defense actually helped the Huskies seal the win. Alpha interception for a touchdown. But yeah, that's kind of my recap on the weekend. I think this.
Well, that's why.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that's why they're a playoff level team, though. USC couldn't do that, and obviously Penn State couldn't hang with Ohio State. They've had a good defense all year. Couldn't stop Ohio State when they needed to. Couldn't stop Harrison Jr. So Washington, to me, yeah, they're definitely the cream of the crop in the Pac-12. You know,
Yeah,
because of that defense that can bail them out. You know, you have Penix is that you're going to have 1 or 2 stinkers a year. Even the best quarterbacks will. Caleb will, and Penix and all these guys. But it's the Washington's defense there that's going to, I think, eventually get them one of the 4 playoff spots.
Yeah, they're a top 5. So I mean, I think they'll be in commits of the for a playoff mixture in there. So and that's pretty much guaranteed. But I mean, other than that, my football recap for the NFL, it was not bad. I went 12-5. I almost went 6-0 in Yahoo. You know, one of the guys, you know, in Jared's league. Funny part is I should have picked up a linebacker or something. I probably would have won the matchup. I had some guys I was down.
Oh,
Came back, yeah, in the
man.
IDP league. Yeah, in that IDP league, I was. It came down. All I needed was Ayukin to get maybe like another reception and a few more yards. I would have won. I would have won the matchup. I would have been happy. But I had a few close matchups, you know. But I mean, it came down the wire for Monday night. You know, Ayukin, Addison. I even had Hawkinson in a couple leagues. So I mean, overall, it wasn't a bad weekend for the low scoring with, you know, the running backs didn't do well, you know, but we'll get into some other stuff too that, and we'll probably bring up later in the show too here. But I think that kind of recaps the week.
No, that's. I mean, when you're managing 17 teams, I mean, you're not gonna. You might once a year, you might be 15-2 or something. You know, some crazy where you just you know, crank out win after win after win. It's just, you know, when you do as much as you do, but I was going to say, I'm about ready to phone up the 72 Dolphins because in our 16-man out of rhythm invitational, I'm 7-0 and in first place. Just wanted everybody to know that. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. Let me talk to you. Got 7 down, 7 more to go. I sound like Bill Belichick here. On to Cincinnati, on to New England, or on to New York. 7 more to go, and then, you know, try to take it home in the playoffs, and we'll see what happens here. But it's been a great start. But the other leagues are, you know, okay. The other teams range between 5-2 and 3-4, so they're kind of in the mid there. But that 7-0 team, that's firing on all cylinders. Bam, bam.
Yeah, I'm, you know, in sleeper, I'm pretty much, you know, I'm 500 and also in all those, especially the dynasty and stuff like that. So I'm all up on, you know, so I'm all 500. You know, I think I might be sub 501, but I mean, other than that, I mean, overall, I'm pretty well happy. I mean, I'm 7-0 too as well in a couple NFL leagues on that side of the, you know, NFL fantasy anyways. So I'm 7-0 in actually 2 of those leagues over there. I'm pretty happy with that. And they're just 10 mans, you know. So I mean, other than that, I'm surprised I'm 7-0, but hopefully I can continue the streak. I just remember our invitational, I was the guy to beat last year because, you know, you're doing the same thing I was last year. You know, I probably would have had a 16-0 week or season, but I ended up losing, I think, 1 or 2 games in there, but I was pretty disappointed with that. But I mean, overall, I mean, you're gonna go down one of these weeks.
We know we know the rotten scoundrel who ended up winning that championship, and I'll mark my words, he ain't gonna win it. Yeah, he ain't gonna win that again.
I'm coming for you, boy. But you know the funny thing is actually in our old Twin Turbo League, I actually started at the bottom, and now I'm actually in the mix of actually being in the middle of things now, being a 3 and 4 team, you know. So I'm borderline of actually, you know, going up, catching everybody, being in the playoff hunt. So I'm pretty happy with that.
We come in.
Yeah, it's funny thing, you know, there are a couple of these guys at the bottom of our leagues was actually at the top, you know. Wes was actually at the top. Now he was actually up there. Now he's going to be a sub 500 team here pretty damn shortly after his poor trade he made. You know, who trades out Bijan for crappy shit, for crappy players? But you know, that's what happens. You know, that's just kind of.
So he did. Wait. So he did make that trade with Josh. That's official.
Yeah, it's been official a couple weeks ago.
Do you want to let Jamie? Do you want to let the audience know? You want to let the audience know exactly what this trade was? I think we said something on the show, but just so everybody's clear on this, tell them about that trade.
Oh, so one of the guys, he was actually he needed a better quarterback. So he gave away Goff and Bijan to get Joshua Kelly, and then he ended up getting Herbert. In my eyes, that was just a piss poor trade. Who gives up Bijan for scrap? For scrap. I mean, he had Saquon Barkley. I would have been, no, give me for that. I was like, give me Barkley and whatnot. I mean, to me, that would have been more of a better trade. But now I told him, I was like, dude, this trade's gonna kick you in the ass, and it's starting to show.
Yeah.
Starting to show. Yeah.
What the hell? Yeah. Good God, man. Yeah, that's a redraft, right? That's a year to year.
No, that's our keeper league. That's our keeper league.
It is a keeper league. Okay. I was gonna say Justin Herbert, he's kind of struggling right now, but he's still Justin Herbert. But yeah, Josh Kelly is junk. He's trash. And we might talk about him here in just based on that. He might be filling in some more for Eckler, but we saw what he did a couple weeks there when Eckler was hurt. It's not a feature back. And giving up Bijan this early, Bijan's going to be a keeper for years to come. I know he kind of had an illness in this past week, but I mean he's still Bijan, and Goff's been playing a lot better. I think Goff, as long as Goff is a Lion, as long as Ben Johnson's the OC there, he's going to be a top 10 quarterback. So yeah, it's just a dumb move.
Yeah, that's what I think of it. But all right, let's get over to since we're kind of transitioning into just talking about players and stuff like that. I want to talk about Joshua Palmer here. I mean, that case. I know. I mean, it's kind of coming down to where's Quentin Johnson? Where's Quentin Johnson? It's like, nope. Joshua Palmer is in the mix. He had 25 fantasy points. He was out in 98% of the snaps. He had 7 targets, 133 yards, 26 yards per catch. I mean, this guy's a number 3. I mean, with Williams being out and, Johnson just being irrelevant, it's annoying. It's annoying for me because I wanted him to shine, but with Joshua Palmer kind of being in the mix, this is what's going to happen. And it showed that he had the ability to actually just beat up this Chiefs defense. Even though I did kind of sleep, I actually missed most of the first half games. I was actually watching the second half games. Yep. Like, all right, I wanted to see, so I was watching, there was a couple other games I'll probably mention too. But Palmer, I mean, he looked good. I mean, he actually outplayed freaking Keenan Allen, which was kind of like, I was kind of surprised that Keenan Allen didn't actually eat up some yards against his Chiefs defense. I was pretty impressed with that. But Palmer, for coming in, being he's probably the number 2 now since Quentin Johnson is being irrelevant at all now. So it's, to me, I guess, if Joshua Palmer is out there, I think he's actually in one of my.
If he's out there, you got to get. I mean, at this point, it's a little late in the game to trade for him. You're going to have to. His name is out there, and he's kind of repeating what he did last year. I mean, if we all remember when he filled in when Keenan Allen was banged up, and it was him and Mike Williams. I mean, he was a good number 2. He's a good number 2 now. Like, obviously, if you're going to be a Super Bowl contending team, he's going to be your number 3. He's a really good number. He's a Tyler Boyd, really good number 3. But Josh Palmer, he's doing what he did last year when he's filling in nicely as number 2. Quentin Johnston, MIA, nowhere to be found. I know you weren't as high on him as I was, so I mean, it could always turn around. Like Jalen Hyatt from the Giants, had two grabs, 75 yards this past weekend. So it'll come in spurts. With these rookies, I'm not going to completely because of the talent, because of the size, because of the pedigree. I'll give him this season as a wash. But if he's still, not getting targets, if he's still pulling this same stuff next year, drop, stay away from him like the damn plague, and don't draft him, don't touch him. To me, then he screams bust. But what, 6-7 games into his NFL career, I'll let it slide. But yeah, he should be out there. Quinn Johnston, and a lot of people did. I mean, he was a high first round pick. I mean, he should be out there getting targets, and he's catching one ball a game. That's just not good enough for a first round receiver.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, he's getting outplayed by Joshua Palmer. I mean, this is his second year. I mean, he's pretty much a waiver wire guy. I mean, he's a guy that's kind of a boom or bust kind of guy. You don't know what you're going to get from this guy. So I mean, he's a guy who just he's like a 1 week wonder. You hopefully, he's kind of like, well, you hope he actually booms against this, whoever team they're playing at that week. So he's kind of one of those guys, and then you kind of get off of him. I mean, honestly, most of his total targets right now, he actually had, let me look here, 35 targets on the season. So I mean, he's getting, with Williams being out, he's actually getting actually his target rate is actually kind of going up here, which is a plus. I mean, he's probably averaging about 7 targets per game. So I mean, that's actually gone up, with Williams being out and Johnson not really doing anything. So I mean, now with Palmer, Palmer's 133-yard game is probably the best he probably done throughout his career, actually. I mean, if I actually went back, and I would have to go back and look at his last year's season to see what he actually did, but I don't think he had any games that were over 100 some odd yards. They're always kind of a 30 or 40-yard game, maybe a touchdown in there. Just little small stats that don't really matter too much. He might get you a couple, 15, 10 points per game. Depends on who they're playing anyways. But yeah, I think that kind of. You have anything else on Joshua Palmer offhand?
There's a guy from Minnesota who I'm going to talk about in our waivers. Brandon Powell. Brandon Powell kind of reminds me of this year's version of the 2022 Josh Palmer. Like, I could see Powell stepping in next year for if they like get rid of KJ Osborne, for example, if they need the cap space to re-sign JJ, and if it would be Powell, Addison, and JJ as the Vikings receivers going into next year, for example. So I think Powell, he's a good comp this year, because he's kind of putting up those, like what Josh Palmer was doing last year, a lot of those 4-catch, 60-yard kind of dip your toe in the water a little bit, kind of see what they can bring to the table as rookies, and yeah, I know Josh Palmer, yeah, definitely stepping it up for sure. I would I'd keep him around. In any size league, I would at least stash him on the bench, because right now at worst he's the number 2 with Justin Herbert. I mean, Justin Herbert still slinging it, not perfect, but yeah, you got to have Palmer at least on your bench. I mean, there's no excuse why he shouldn't be on every roster.
Yeah, I was actually just looking here at his last year's stats here. Week 11, playing Kansas City, he actually put up 30.6 fantasy points. He was actually wide receiver 3 on that day. 10 targets, 8 receptions, 106 yards. No, wait, not 106. Yeah, 106. Well, he actually had another game with 106. Isn't that impressive? But he had 2 touchdowns in that game. So any chance that the Chargers and Chargers and Chiefs are playing, just plug him in, because
plug him in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's enough of Joshua Palmer. Last night, though, my good gracious, man, freaking Jordan Addison. I think this was the game we all been waiting for.
Yeah.
So Jordan Addison put it, it all just gives or take on your league settings, but in the league that I have him in, he put up 42 points. He was out 74% snaps. He was kind of in and out too as well, because I mean, he had some cramping, and I was like, when he actually headed back to the locker room, I'm like, oh God, hopefully it's nothing major. I'm like, so I was like, God damn it. I'm like, no, stay in, dude. I need the points as many as I can. But yeah, so other than that, he actually had 10 targets, 7 receptions, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns, 17.5 yards per catch. And he was actually averaging, oh shit. He was actually averaging yards per target is 12.3. So even though that the 49ers defense is pretty stout defense, he was actually getting separation from these DBs, so I mean he was getting down the field. There was a couple of them, I can't remember who the DB was that was on him. It was funny because he actually snagged away one reception from him for an interception. The next time that happened, Addison was like, "No, give me that damn ball," and he was like down the field. So I was just like, I was happy. I was pretty stoked about Jordan Addison, the way he looked, with him actually filling in with Jefferson being gone. This is kind of the production you want to get from Addison. You want these you want him to be the target monster. You want him to get hundreds of yard games, these touchdowns in there.
It was great to see him step up into that number one role, because we've seen KJ Osborne. He's not sorry, a couple of years of this, he's filled in for Thielen. He's filled in for other guys. Like he doesn't have it in him. KJ Osborne does not have it in him to step it up to the level of Jordan Addison. Addison, I mean, they're Vikings are up to 3-4, man. I mean, they've won a couple games without Jefferson now, and that's boding well for the future. Because he's still on Addison's gonna be on a rookie contract for a couple years. You pay JJ, got 2 lethal receivers. They're gonna be, if the Bengals lose Higgins, which they probably will. I mean, this will be, the Vikings will be right up there with Tyreek and Waddle and some of the best 1-2 combos in the league. I mean, Addison already got 6 touchdowns. It wasn't just today, or yesterday when he had 2 TDs. I mean, he had 4 before that. I think he's number 2 in the league in receiving touchdowns. So I mean, Addison's having a And this could end up being one, filling in for Jefferson. He's just going to pad those stats some more. I don't see why he can't end up with 12 touchdowns at the end of the year, which has got to be one of the, better rookie seasons of all time. I don't see any reason why he can't get to 12. So, I mean, this guy, he's a monster right now.
I could probably see him maybe getting to 10, possibly, especially if it depends on who they're playing. They have a couple, they play Green Bay next, Atlanta, the Saints. I can maybe see
bad.
Denver,
more bad.
Yeah, Denver,
bad. A lot of bad.
Denver's defense is kind of stepping up, but I mean, there's good opportunity for him to get a possible couple touchdowns there. They play the Bears in Week 12.
It's easy to step up. It's easy to step up when you play Jordan Love.
Yeah, and
yeah, he's kind of been shit in the bed lately, but yeah, Addison, man, I've been you were higher on him than I was. I mean, he's the bee's knees, as they say.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, he played 1 year. I think he played 1 year with Kenny Pickett before he transferred to USC and played with Caleb Williams, and it showed, his, with him going to USC, how he just blossomed even more with getting touchdowns.
2 years. No, I think it was. Oh, Jay, I think it was 2 years with Pickett, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I was just saying from a year ago. I mean, from him playing with Pickett, transferring to, playing with Caleb Williams, totally different offenses. I mean, I think they were even. I think they were even ranked back. I'd have to go back at 2022, but I'm sure USC was ranked pretty high back then too, as well, with them. Getting an addition of Addison. I kind of ended up watching that a little bit too when he transferred to USC, and he just tore it up, which is why he was a pretty high draft pick as well with the Vikings, which to me was not a bad landing spot, because I mean, with Jefferson being on the other side, and with a little bit of Hawkinson, you just we weren't really quite sure what he was actually going to do in the offense from what when we broke this down this summer. With Jefferson being gone now, I mean, this is great. I mean, totally just great for him to just blossom even more. Great for people who have him in dynasty and whatnot. And, keepers leagues, it's not a bad addition, to just hold him for next year.
This team, absolutely. Keeper, yeah, absolutely. He's going to be one of your 3 keepers. I dare to say, yeah, he's on that trajectory for sure. We pretend you didn't say it. Donovan, I'll pretend I didn't say that. I'll tell you what. This Vikings team is dangerous. I know he doesn't want to hear that. Yeah, Mr. Packer, he doesn't want to hear that. But this Vikings team is dangerous. That offense, even Cam Akers, who they picked up for a ham sandwich, even he's getting in on the action. Akers doesn't look too bad in that Vikings offense, but Cousins is rolling right now. He's like the number. Between passer rating, yards, TDs, Kirk's in the top 5 in all of those. So, I mean, he's firing on all cylinders. They'll get JJ back, probably week 10, week 11-ish. So, this team's dangerous.
I immediately regret this decision.
Writing off the Viking. Yeah, we regret writing off the Vikings early. They're dangerous.
But I mean, other than that, I think that kind of wraps up Jordan Addison. Our evaluation. I had high hopes for him coming into the season as well for being a rookie, and landing with, taking over that Thielen role, which is showing why they wanted him, needed him, because I mean, look what he's doing, 123 yards. I mean, this is what he's capable of doing. So I'm happy. Yep. I was happy to see his production last night. It's only going to rise. It's only going to rise more. The funny thing is I mentioned on a different show a while back ago about Addison, with people who have Jefferson, they should have gone out and actually tried to acquire Addison in a trade to see what they could have gotten from him to actually keep that target share kind of go, well, not really target share, kind of keep their wide receiver bench open with Addison being there, with the flake of Jefferson being gone. I mentioned that
now it would be. I agree with you. All right. So let's just say now it would be impossible to get Addison without backing up the Brinks truck. But like, what do you think? Let's say 3 weeks ago, what would you have had to given up to get Addison? Like, what kind of a player? What level player? What David Montgomery? I'm trying to think of this is before he started really turning it up. Like, you think like an Addison David Montgomery trade, let's say 3 weeks ago would have been better.
I mean, or a T Higgins, like a T Higgins kind of using kind of like a wide receiver twos, So I mean, kind of maybe a T Higgins for Addison, because they were kind of they're kind of putting up the Higgins kind of has some upside. If Chase ever gets hurt, Higgins falls into that wide receiver 1. So I mean, that would have been a good fair to me. It would have been a good I actually just. The funny thing that you say that, some guy offered me in our 16-team league. Some guy actually offered me Thielen for Higgins, and I'm like, yep, like, I was kind of frustrated with Higgins, so I'm like, I'll take Thielen right now, which Thielen is actually kind of the wide receiver 1 right now. So
he is. Yeah, surprise or not, I mean, team is awful, but Adam Thielen's having his best year in probably 4 or 5 years. So that was actually a good trade for time being.
So I was saying. Yeah, I was at the first, because they're both on buy. I'm like, at first I was kind of hesitant. I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm actually gonna do this trade. So I'm like, I kind of had enough with T Higgins, and I'd rather have someone who's actually getting some targets and touchdowns right now. So if it hopefully doesn't bite me in the end, but for me, I as soon as Jefferson went down, I probably would have been trying to trade for Addison, just because you had that, target guy, as Jefferson is, Addison's, he's pretty much that next guy up in that role. So, but a lot of people are saying, no, you probably shouldn't do it. I would have done it. I would have gone anything with him getting actually, a bump and rise and all that stuff. But that's just my opinion. You guys should have maybe traded for Addison a couple of weeks ago, and you guys would have been happy with him filling in the role of Jefferson. All right. Last but not least, I got just one more guy here. It's
the Badger, the Badgent, the pageant, the Badger, the QB1 for the Bears.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, Tyson Bagnet. I actually kind of dig some digging into him a little bit. I think he was drafted by the Bears. I didn't, or he was undrafted. I can't remember which one it was, but
keep talking. I'm gonna double check.
Okay. Tyson Bagnet, he actually put up 14 points. He had 29 attempts, 21 completions, 162 yards. He actually had a touchdown in this game. He had a little bit of rushing too at 3 attempts for 24 yards. I was actually kind of watching this game, and you know what the funny crazy thing is that Bagent actually made the Bears look
Undrafted.
okay, undrafted. That's what I thought. I wasn't quite sure. You know, this kid comes in. He actually made the Bears look legit. He actually was moving this offense up and down the field. You know, I'm just like, why can't you know, Fields do this? I'm like, what the hell's wrong with Fields that this kid can come in and just
because he can't read a defense.
Yeah, I said it. This Badger kid, dude, he might beat
Are
Fields.
you
I know
nuts?
Fields is a way. Yeah, exactly. Fields is a way better athlete, but this kid can distribute. I mean, look what Purdy struggled the last couple games with the 49ers, but I mean, before that, I mean, Purdy was a great distributor. You know, low round, 7th round pick. As long as this guy and the team likes him. I mean, you can tell. I mean, the reports, the coaches like him, the teammates like him. It's solid. Instantly better than Brock Purdy. Yes, he is, Donovan.
Are you mad?
I like what I'm seeing. I like what I'm seeing so far, and I think going forward, like not a great fantasy guy when you have other guys of his ilk that are like Minshew and even Josh Dobbs, guys like that you can pick up. I mean, Badgett, he would need, I think, what would you say, maybe 2 or 3 more games like this to really be like solidify, like, couple 180-yard, 2 TD games to really catch, like, okay, hey, now he's playable. Now in a 2-quarterback league, now you can stick him in there. Because I'd ride this kid, let Fields his thumb. He's out week 8. Let him heal up, and then, let the kid carry the offense. DJ Moore is having a resurgent year, man. He hasn't had 5 touch. I mean, most years DJ Moore only has 5 touchdowns the whole season. He's already got 5 this year, so they're doing something right.
Yeah, it's and I don't know, maybe Badgett might be in my waivers this week, but stay tuned to find out for that. But I just want to actually did some breaking into him. He actually came from a Division II team. He actually played in the FCS, which was a Division II from Shepherd Rams. He actually was a 2023 Senior Bowl participant. In 2022, he actually was a Harlan Hill Trophy candidate. He actually in 2019 he actually was an NCAA Double II champion passing yards per game, actually with 362 yards per game, with just plain insane. In 2021 he was the PSAC Player of the Year. And then the crazy thing is him playing in Division II, he actually had 171 touchdowns career-wise, from 2018 to actually 2022. And they actually, in 2021, he actually had 56 touchdowns in just that one season, which was a career high for him. I mean, this guy just reads off the charts. I mean, he had from what I think I was reading here too as well, he actually had over 7,000 some odd yards passing. This kid was just throwing dimes just left and right. It just shows he's got some good quality to him, but I was actually looking up on the NFL like the perspective, draft wise, he only rated a 5.68. So I mean, he was kind of like a practice squad guy, or bottom of the roster kind of dude, just kind of the last minute thing. Well, okay, we'll just toss him in case maybe Fields gets hurt, and bam, wham, bam, here you go, man. For him being undrafted, plain insane. I mean,
I was gonna say, quick, Jay, these FCS guys are producing. In 2023, we see Jaleel McLaughlin. He's getting the shot with the Broncos. Our boy Pierre Strong from SDSU. He's I think if Jerome Ford's banged up, he's probably the backup behind Kareem Hunt now. With the Browns, if that going forward, and so Pierre Strong is getting some looks. So these FCS guys, they can play. I mean, you just read it. I mean, Bagent was, he probably a top 5 FCS quarterback. I mean, that's nothing to snuff at. I mean, a lot of these lower level, I use that term loosely because I think South Dakota State could beat a lot of the Power 5 schools. So
yeah, they could. They have.
Yeah, Joe Flacco. Anybody remember him? Won a Super Bowl. Had a lot of 4,000 yard passing seasons. Joe Flacco came from Delaware. It's an FCS school. So there's just because he's from an FCS school and undrafted doesn't mean he can't play. I've from what I've seen, like he's handling the offense and as long as Fields is banged up, Fields is gonna get all these opportunities because he was a top 5 pick. Because he's got the pedigree. He athletic. He sells jerseys to all the little Bears fans, all the little Cubby Bear fans, but yeah, Bagnet might be on his way. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but I mean, if you don't like it, you can take a word from.
Elmo makes one phone call, you're through in this business.
So that's our highlight on Tyson Bagnet. So don't take our word for it. Hey man, it's I see what I liked from these kids. You don't like it, Emma just said it. We'll just kick you on out of here. So.
Keep them. Take strong, man. Ooh, is it gold star time?
It is.
Put it up on the fridge. Got it up.
Another guy in the fridge.
I should go get a shot of tequila while I'm at it. While I put the gold star up. Cha-ching. Yeah, baby. Week 7. Josh, this has been coming. I mean, this has been brewing the pot. It's out there on the stove. This has been brewing up. You're damn right. This kid has been. He could have been one of the risers. I mean, he's been rising up every single week. I try to look for more guys on the radar for that segment, but this was coming. 5 catches on 6 targets, 125 yards and a tutty. He's stepping into his own. Excuse me, I had to cough up that bullshit quick. I think that. Or wait, is that Michael Pittman Jr. calling? Oh, what's up, dude? Oh, hey. Yeah, Josh Downs just took your spot as the Colts' #1 target. I said it. And for the season, these rookies are Addison, Josh Downs.
Are you mad?
These speedy receivers. Yeah, these speedy receivers are showing out right now, and the big possession guys, the big over the top guys like Quentin Johnson, who we thought are going to pop, have been busts so far, but. The speedy smaller guys, Addison and Josh Downs, just tearing it up. Downs is on his way. Maybe a 900-yard rookie season. That's not bad. I mean, Chris Olave only had a little over 1,000, and Olave is widely regarded as the Saints' #1, and probably a top 15 fantasy receiver, top 20. So yeah, Downs is on his way. I mean, this is just only going up from here. What are your thoughts on just the game? I mean, the game against especially against the Browns defense. I mean, the Browns passing defense was like legendary coming into that game, and him and Minshew just ate him up.
Yeah, this game, I think this game actually this game actually pissed me off more than anything, just because the Colts actually looked 10 times better than the Browns, and just those last minute penalties hurt them that they shouldn't have even been called. I was like, you have to be freaking kidding me, man. I was.
Are you mad?
Yes, I am mad because the freaking Colts should have won that game. Josh Downs, we've been actually hyping him up here the last couple weeks. If you didn't go out and get him, you should have had him. We actually just said, I mean, he was slowly going to be, he was slowly kind of getting in his offense. And we said when Minshew's in there, Minshew tosses his guy. He tosses to freaking Josh Downs because he's that intermediate target. I mean, he's slot guy. We told you to go out and get Josh Downs. We told you guys this is what was going to happen, and it freaking happened. 2 touchdowns. He had 2 touchdowns in this game. I think he had 2 touchdowns. I don't have his stats offhand on me, but I know he had a couple touchdowns. One.
He's got 2. He's got 2 for the season. Just 1 for this past game.
Yeah, I know he had like 100 odd yards.
Yep, him and Minshew have a rapport. I mean, that's more than anything. I mean, Pittman Jr., he's still good, but they don't have that same rapport. And going forward, Yeah, if you didn't, we set the table for you guys for the past week. So if you didn't tune in or you've been, oh, that's just the other rhythm guy. We know what we're talking about when it comes to Josh Downs. He's a damn UNC fan. We know things. We need one of those T-shirts. I know things.
Right?
Like I said, this was brewing up. This is coming. And yeah, the baby's already been delivered. Okay, you ain't getting him now. He's gonna be rostered all over the place after this game.
Because you know why? You know why? You know why, right? Because he's money. But I watched Josh Downs with him and Drake Mays in UNC. He was pretty much their leading target guy down there. He was getting touchdowns after touchdowns. I mean, he's a good. I mean, he's got the capabilities of actually kind of going downfield too as well. But he's more that intermediate short route receiver that plays best in the intermediate game, which is why he was getting some of these wide open catches and when he was hitting slants and stuff like that. I mean, it showed he's got the speed to do this, and I just love the fact that we have a Minshew. I'll have to come up with something. A Minshew and Downs freaking thing going on.
Sounds like a Pokemon. Go! I gotta catch them all. I gotta go catch a Minshew.
I don't know what to call this.
He's either Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite or he's Minshew.
The Downs to the. Oh, wait, hold on. No, it'll be the down to the Minshew because we're chewing up those yards. Oh, there we go. Ching ching. But I mean, overall, hopefully you guys. I think. I think I'll mention him in our waiver section too as well. So if he's still stay tuned for that, and we'll just kind of recap some of that as we just mentioned here in Eli's Gold Star highlighted player of the week. I think we have one more before we get to. Before we get, what's funny?
Couple things. Oh, go ahead, Jay.
I was gonna say before we actually get to the other side of Eli's riser, I just wanted to shout out to the troll on YouTube who was trying to say that we gave Kenneth Walker a bad review, or he was like, did you guys not watch any of his it was funny because for us I thought he had a pretty
like Robert Saleh here.
He had a pretty good game, and he for us saying we gave a bad analysis and it was weak. He's a workhorse. What's there so weak to be about? He's a he's a blue collar workhorse running back, and
the blue collar. Yeah, he went to Michigan State, blue collar running back. What the hell do you think Marshawn Lynch was in that offense for years? He was a blue collar bruising running back. That's what Pete Carroll likes. That's what John Schneider likes to draft and sign. Like and a lot of these players, we don't. We have sections for them, but we don't dedicate like hey Jay, 3 weeks from now, hey, I'm gonna we're gonna spend a whole hour on Kenneth Walker. No, he happened to be a player that stood out that week, and we gave our analysis, and that's where we're at. If people want to troll us, I mean that's what they're entitled to do. But it was but you put it out there, and we sent an invitation to these people. Hey, come show your face, come on the show. This invitation is open to anybody. We've had a bunch of guys that have manned up, that have come on the show from different, whether different podcasts or just people in general. Tim, we like a lot. Obviously Big D, Donovan, probably Jordan from the past summer. Jordan, the young guy we're friends with, he came on. Yeah, so we've had other guys that have come on and showed their face. And actually, it's different when you're behind a keyboard. When you're a keyboard assassin, and it's different to, attack people for their points of view. But yeah, we try to rise above that. We're just giving our take on a player. We're not sitting here, hey, let's write out a whole 30-minute diatribe on Kenneth Walker. It wasn't even like that. It would have been like what we did with Tyson Bagnet. It's like people getting on us this week for Tyson Bagnet. Oh, well, his completion percentage in the FCS level was 61%. You know what I mean? There's people are just gonna do that. They're they have the power of the keyboard, the power of their cell phone or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, just to relate on that whole tangent or Badgett thing, there's nothing to actually critique or try to disfavor, or try to troll us on, because I actually looked up all of his stats, and I mean, this kid was legit. He had a mountain of lists of stuff that he was great at, and he had got awards for a lot of things. And for the troll who says he's like, well, maybe when I get a fantasy page. Yeah, shut up, dude. Get the hell out of here. It's
you know that bridge that he lives under. He's a troll. That bridge he lives under. I'm gonna burn the son of a bitch down. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Oh.
All right.
Oh wait.
Enough. Star play now.
Hold on.
And we say bye-bye.
Okay.
I had to get Trump in there. Come on.
Bye-bye.
All right. Now let's
bye-bye.
All right, let's get into our
yeah. Let's do my player on the rise, and then we'll do some DFS bargains, and then get into the segment hopefully you've all been waiting for, waiver time. Jake BoBo from the Seahawks, and this might have been DK wasn't inactive for Sunday, which is rare. I think that's the first game DK's ever missed. I mean, the guy's a machine. He doesn't miss games. So Jake BoBo stepped in there, and weeks 1 through 5, he had 2 grabs on 4 targets, so he wasn't even getting looked at. But you gotta remember, this guy, undrafted rookie, kind of has worked his way up from the bottom. We come in. He's worked his way up from the bottom, and so the last 2 weeks, it was like what I did with Michael Mayer last week. These guys aren't, they're not blown up yet, but if there's some injuries, if Tyler Lockett goes down, JSN, he was hurt earlier in the, with the preseason and first week of the season, or first couple weeks, JSN was out. If this lingers, this guy, they like him. This is another guy that the Seahawks like, and I at worst he's their number 4, which isn't a bad spot to be in with Geno. Geno likes to sling it. And so the last 2 weeks, he's had 2 receptions and 43 yards against the Bengals. And this past game, 4 grabs, 61 yards on 5 targets. So, yeah, that's the whole point of the segment. He's steadily working his way up. And just thought I'd give a little information, just a little background where he came from. Because a lot of you guys have probably never heard of Jake BoBo. Spent 4 years at Duke, and then transferred for 1 season with UCLA and played with Chip Kelly over there. And actually, I had a pretty good season last year, 57 grabs, over 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. So I had a decent year. Not like a 1,400 yard. Oh God, we gotta get some tape on this guy. He's gonna be a second round pick, or he didn't put up that kind of those kind of numbers or had that kind of a claim. But he's got the size. I mean, 6'4", good hands. I could see, I can see a future, and being, like I said, that's not the worst spot to be in. The number 4 receiver for the Seahawks, not a bad spot to be in. There's worse quarterback play, going on than what Geno's doing. So, any thoughts on Jake BoBo before? Go ahead.
Well, Jake BoBo, I mean, I mean, I guess I was gonna say he played with DTR with the Bruins before he got drafted too by the Browns. Yep. So I can see why he had that good connection. Well, Duke is not honestly, Duke is not a bad, college. No,
they got a good program going on. They're right up there. I mean, they're UNC, Florida State, Miami, Duke. Duke's probably the 4th best program. Clemson, I guess, but yeah, Duke's right up there with Clemson and Miami at least.
Yeah, I mean, for Jake, I mean, I seen that catch that BoBo had. I mean, dude, that was totally sick. Yeah. I couldn't believe he caught that. I was like, dude, I had a literally take. I'm like, dude, that's it. I'm like, dude, that's literally that's the catch of the year. That'll be the catch of the year right there. I mean, I don't think no one can beat that. I mean, well, maybe Pickens, but I think that's going to be the catch of the year. Everyone's going to be talking about that catch right there. Right. I guess he really hasn't really been playing too much. I mean, he's been getting some snaps in. JSN kind of came in and actually finally got a touchdown. So, in most dynasty leagues, I was kind of happy. I have JSN in a couple leagues, but it's kind of hard saying, do I hold him? Do I drop him? And if with DK being out, I mean, that's the only reason why, BoBo been kind of involved there, and Jason kind of stepped up too with, it, maybe with, Tyler Lockett, maybe kind of going on the downside here, maybe downslope, maybe Jake Bobo and Jason kind of second half kind of just start kind of taking over a little bit. So other than that,
I think that's the thought process. Yeah, I think
that
that's
could
the
very well-
I think Lockett if Lockett doesn't retire and he's still only 30, I think Lockett will be with another team next year. If I'm being perfectly honest. So
that's very possible.
I could see an offense with DK, JSN, and Bobo being the three guys for Seattle. Absolutely.
Yeah. Was Bobo actually undrafted or was he actually drafted?
Undrafted. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, these undrafted guys, man, they're talking about a lot of them today. Jeez.
Yeah,
All right.
I think Jalen was actually undrafted too as well. So I mean, there's another FBS guy or FCS guy. Hot damn! All right.
Yeah. They're bouncing up and down just like me. And I'm gonna get into one more segment here, and then we'll get on to the waivers. These are my bargain bin 5 for DFS. Now, I usually do the classic 9-man. Like I've said before, there's a bunch of different formats. There's other places to do this too. I just prefer DraftKings. Same thing with Spotify. I prefer Spotify for music and podcasts and stuff like that. This is just my personal preference is DraftKings, and it's at least the first or most second popular. So I go off the numbers here. You know what? And my steal of the week, because we don't know, DK, that might linger into this week. You know what? 4 catches, 61 yards. I know the Browns, they did have an elite pass defense until this past week, when Minshew tore him up. So who knows? Maybe Geno Smith will tear him up too. The Seahawks playing the Browns. Bobo for 3,500. That's cheap. That's one of the cheapest guys out there. And if his stock is rising, hey, it's worth a shot. And then Sunday, you that's what I love about DFS. You can just change out your team. If it turns out DK's playing, get Bobo out of there. Kendrick Bourne, he's another guy. I think he's in the high 4 range. Kendrick Bourne I had last week too. Kendrick Bourne was the leading receiver for the Patriots this past week. So that's kind of a backup option there. If DK does play. Number 2, my main man Chuba, sometimes Chuba Hubbard. 4,800. That's a good bargain. He's been the feature back with Carolina. If you combine the rushing yards with all the passes that he catches, he's finding his niche. And it's still early in the season. We know that he wears down throughout the course of the year, like last year when Foreman kind of took over the second half of the year. Hubbard's usually first half of the season back, and then he just wears down. But right now we're only at week 8, so I trust him. I put him in number 2. Romeo Doubs, another steal at number 3. 4,900. I had him in here last week too. Why not? I could see another touchdown coming his way. They're playing the Vikings. Vikings defense, they play a little better against San Francisco, but they ain't great. And Christian Watson might be banged up again. So Dobbs by default is probably the number 1. Him and Jaden Reed and even Musgrave, I think, is banged up. So I think it's going to be a lot of Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs this coming weekend. Number 4, Kenny Pickett. He 4,900. That ain't bad. I know Minshew, and there's a couple other guys that are under 5,500 that you could snag as well. Josh Dobbs is still down there. Sam Howell, guys like that. But Pickett's been like last year. Remember how he second half of the year he started cranking it up. I think they're finally getting that offense going with Pittsburgh. They look good against the Rams, and he looked good. So hope they can continue that. And number 5, Hunter Henry. Why the hell not? I've had him in here a couple times. 3,700 ain't bad. He's still one of the most underrated tight ends in the league. And the Patriots, it might just been they were playing the Bills, playing a divisional team. They know them like the back of their hand, and maybe that's why the offense looked better. But Mac Jones looked decent, and if you can get that kind of production from Mac, then Kendrick Bourne and Hunter Henry, I would say, are the 1A. Guys for the passing offense with the Patriots. So those are my 5. Any thoughts, Jay?
Bobo, not a bad option for 3,500.
For the price.
Yeah. I mean, with him maybe being an uprise, or maybe JSN is probably around that same budget too. Hubbard, not a bad. I don't know about Hubbard. I probably want to play him. Maybe just I'm not sure who they're playing this week. I probably want to play him. Dobbs, maybe. Especially if Watson if Watson is hurt, probably not a bad play there. Pickett, I love it. I actually liked seeing what he was.
The Texans. Hubbard, Panthers playing the Texans.
I think that might be a wash game because it's gonna probably go either way. I mean, Texans are they're actually starting to be a little bit better, So I mean, with Hubbard maybe not being that, Chuba. Never mind. Well, actually, never mind. I was actually thinking of Sanders. Sorry, I was reading that wrong. But yeah, Hubbard. Yeah, actually not bad. I thought that was Sanders. I was like, get Sanders up out of there.
Oh.
My eyes are all.
Yeah. You want to talk about Quentin Johnson? You want to talk about Quentin Johnson being a bust? Miles Sanders he's stealing money. He's stealing money from the Panthers.
Yeah, Pickett is not bad. I mean, especially with Deontay Johnson and Pickett actually looking pretty good in this last game.
Yeah, Deontay.
Yeah, not a bad option. And Hunter Henry, and I would probably go Trey McBride. Probably a little bit cheaper just because
he looked good. Yeah, he looked good last weekend.
Yeah,
Seattle. I think McBride and Ertz, I think are like even though with targets and points, yards, all that good stuff. So you kind of don't know where Hunter Henry's like the clear cut number one. I think just for the price. Obviously, there's better tight ends that you can. I just thought with the balance of what production and price that Hunter would go. But yeah, there's a couple other guys. Yeah, go. Yeah, but yeah, that's why this is an open forum. You guys go take a look. Go take a look on DraftKings, but we try to find the bargains so that you can go and get, you can use Mahomes that week. You can use Jamar Chase that week. You can use all the heavy hitters and still get a cheap guy, because that's really when you win the matchups. These other guys in your 10-man pool, your 30-man pool, like whatever, these guys are all using the same heavy hitters. It's these hidden gems is what wins you the matchups. So that's why we do this. But I think it was one of my last weeks here. I actually played I played Mark Andrews and I played Kelsey. I played both of those guys and they actually went off. I can't remember which one that was in, but yeah, I had a nice heyday. Mark Andrews having a great year, man. Five TDs.
Yeah, it's insane. I was gonna try to find that one to figure out which. So I actually finished third. So my lineup was I actually went with Lamar Jackson. I had Jacobs. I had Zach Evans, who actually did nothing. I had Myers. I went with Pittman. I had Cooper Kupp, and then I went with Mark Andrews, Kelsey, and I went with the Giants defense. This was all on Yahoo, so that was a budget of $200 compared to $50,000 on DraftKings. So I mean, you probably could have done the same lineup. What I just did, probably won some money without having Zach Evans, which I probably would have won the week if I didn't have Zach Evans in my lineup.
We didn't know. I mean, who the hell would have thought Darrell Henderson Jr. would have come out of the abyss? You know what I mean? Nobody had any. Royce Freeman. We kind of knew about Royce Freeman, but yeah, Henderson they signed him, and it's like 2021 Darrell Henderson. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nobody saw that coming.
Well, for Henderson. Well, Eli, take us to the next segment, which I will hit here momentarily.
Time. Yeah, baby, it's waiver time! Waiver time!
So we will be right back after our local sponsors from Jamie and Eli. And we're back again. Welcome, guys, to Out of Rhythm Fantasy Sports. You guys are actually just hitting our waiver section of the night, so it's kind of a So we're all stoked. So we figured to take a little break and just kind of just refresh ourselves and let's get into the waivers section for Tuesday night waivers, so everybody can run to the waivers and pick up who they want to pick up. And
T-minus, if you're Central Time, T-minus less than 4 hours, you better get them waiver claims in. Love those products. You should, D. You should also love my Fab 5 here. Rush out and get these guys in particular. This was thought out. You know, I couple different options I could have gone with, and like always, I try to clarify. Well, why don't you go and grab XYZ? Why don't you go grab Josh Kelly or go grab one? Because he's not at 20%. I do Yahoo and I do under 20%. So we keep it to guys who I think universally you can get 10, 12, 16, 20 man. Guys you can universally go and get. You don't have to be like, oh, well, they're only available in my 10 or my 12 man. No, these guys should be available in most format, especially Yahoo. Amari DiMercato, you know what? He let him in rushing attempts again. Had 13 carries. 13 carries, 58 yards. This is the second time in 3 games that he's led the Cardinals. And while James Conner is out, I know they've signed a couple guys, but DiMercato, I think he's the feature. You know what? I'm going to say he's the feature back right now. Until proven otherwise. When Kyler comes back, that's probably going to change some things. Kyler's going to eat up a lot of the rushing yards, I would assume, if he's fully healthy. So that might change things. But at least for the next week, or two, I'm going to say DiMercato, because he's a running back. Obviously, he's not the best player on this list, but running backs are so hard to find that if you can find one that can put up 58 yards in a game or 62 yards a game, you got to snag them up and stash them on the bench. You know what? This is like, going to the store and, oh man, they got the new flavor of Mountain Dew in. Like I didn't expect this. It's like going to the store, find something you didn't expect. I didn't know Darnell Mooney was only at 16% owned. I like that. I like that quite a bit.
Isn't that
they
funny?
got rid of I funny, you funny. Finally got rid of that, well, I can't use this bad word. Chase Claypool, he's with another team now. He was awful. He was eating up cap space. Just get him out of the NFL. Chase Claypool is junk. Okay, Darnell Mooney, nobody in his way except DJ Moore now. I think he's back to being the Bears number 2 if he ever even left that spot, which is where I predicted him all along. When a couple years ago he was miscast as the Bears number 1, he's slotted in at number 2 now, which is perfect. Badgin's got some weapons to work with. I like Cole Kmet. We both like DJ Moore a lot. Darnell Mooney should benefit from that. The Bears finally seem to have something going. Only 16% owned. He's worth a spot, especially 16 man. You could find a spot on your bench for Darnell Mooney. Absolutely. Demario Douglas, 0% rostered. He actually had week 1 had a decent game. He really did. He got hurt, and this past week had another decent game against the Bills. And Douglas is kind of a gadget guy, and I think Bill O'Brien and Mac Jones and the whole offensive side, I think they want to use him more. And at 0% owned, if you're in a deep 16, 20 man league, I wouldn't advocate him in a 10 or a 12, but this is more of like the deep cut. Like maybe Jamie might have him in sleeper too, for his deep cuts, but 16, 20 man, you could probably find a spot for Douglas. He's another guy. He's a candidate next week for the riser. So I might have him in the Jake Bobo segment from today. It might be Demario Douglas next week from the Patriots. Brandon Powell at number 4, only 2% rostered. He's their number 3. And the way Kirk Cousins is slinging the ball like a top 5 quarterback right now, well, he's slinging the ball being a number 3 receiver. And, Hawkinson obviously is a, bigger target than, Powell. But, it being the 4th option, number 3 receiver, that ain't a bad place to be in that offense. And so he'll be taking that role that normally belonged to KJ Osborne. KJ would pop a couple times a season. I think Powell will kind of be in that same role where, if it's a bye week and you're in a deep league, 16 man or something, Powell is definitely worth a look. definitely in 10-man. 10-man, stay away. 12 is pushing it, but 16-man, 20-man, definitely go and snag him up, stash him away. And then Taysom Hill, he's been getting a lot of love. The last 2 weeks, Taysom has had double-digit fantasy games. And, he does this. He'll go on one of these streaks. He does this every year. It's a couple-game streak. You go snag him up, and then you cast him off. You go Tom Hanks, cast away. Take Wilson, the volleyball, boot him out in the ocean. That's what you do with Taysom Hill. So if you got a bye week and you need to, put a tight end in or a DFS guy that's cheaper or a guy you can, Taysom's only 11% rostered. You need a guy for a bye week. This is the perfect option. That's why I put him in number 5, because to me, Taysom is a bye week guy. I don't trust Taysom, 10 games or 12 games or anything like that. Taysom is strictly, hey, Mark Andrews is on a bye or Hawkinson's on a bye, Kittle's on a bye, and you need a serviceable tight end. That's the role for me that Taysom Hill fills. Any thoughts, Jay, before you move on to the sleeper side?
Yeah. DeMarco.
Not interested.
He's honest. He's honest.
I'm just kidding. No, I would, my heart says no, but my brain says yes, just because my
like R. Kelly.
Keaton Ingram was total healthy scratch. I was like, because I actually had him played in one of my leagues and he had 0 points, and I'm like, what the so I was like,
Are you mad?
Yes, I was mad, just because he didn't play. DeMarco came in and just took out, I dropped this guy last week and now I have to go out and try to pick this guy up.
Are you nuts?
Yes, I'm nuts, but come on now.
High maintenance move.
Right?
Shouldn't have to think that hard.
Darnell Mooney? What? Darnell Mooney?
Are you nuts?
Why would I go for that guy for? I don't know. If I guess he's getting some targets, I guess sure, why not? That's just my opinion with the Bears, because they just, I don't know. Douglas Powell, Douglas. I haven't seen much of him. I know. I think you mentioned him in the week 1, maybe possibly, for a guy to pick up, and I was just kind of like,
not interested.
I wasn't interested at the time, but I mean, maybe in a deeper league, yeah, sure, why not? Powell, I'd probably be a little bit more interested too. He's actually getting, especially with that offense, stuff like that too. I would totally be all over Powell, especially in deeper leagues. Smaller leagues, maybe not. Maybe 12, 14 possibly. 10 probably not at all, because it's already kind of stacked already. Taysom Hill, I don't know. Just do it. I know, as you would say, just do it. Go out and snag this guy. I don't have any shares of Tyson Hill. I'm just do it. I just don't know. I'm torn, because Tyson Hill, he could be a total wash one week, and then he can have 20 points the next week. So it's just kind of like, it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't, and it's kind of like,
He is a. Let me clarify. I said it before. I'll clarify it, because I know Jay doesn't trust him either. He is strictly, like when you got to smash the glass to get to the fire extinguisher. That's him. Okay. He's in an emergency. I had a tight end injury. I had a healthy scratch. I have a bye week. That Taysom Hill, I stick in there, and I hope and we just cross our fingers. Hope it's a 20-point week. Hope it's a 11-point week, and just move on. But yeah, no, week after, you're not picking him up week after week. It would be strictly a pickup for a week or two and drop. To me, that's Taysom.
I immediately regret this decision.
All right.
You won't?
Well, all right. Let's get into some sleeper sides here real quick. 10 to 12 man leagues. I know I'm the fan of the guy in the 70s, slicked hair back, bandana. What's that guy's name? The gardener to the Minshew. I'm all
Minshew.
If he's playing like he did this last week, why the hell not actually go out and snag pin him, especially in 2 QB leagues? If he's still there, if he is still there, I would try to snag him up as fast as you could, just because he's a little bit more reliable quarterback, especially with the weapons he's got, and with Jonathan Taylor being there. Shit, why not? I mean, this is a great opportunity for him to be in. Great role. I mean, he can run too if he needs to. So I like this. Cam Akers, he might be a little bit high, but I would just go out and just check just in case he might be out there. I mean, this is gonna be kind of a two-headed monster with Cam Akers kind of being there. So just it's a little bit high, but just go out and just check just in case he might be out there if you need some running back help. Brandon Powell, yeah, I mean, Eli just mentioned him too. He's only 4% rostered in leagues, and if you need a wide receiver, I don't see why. I mean, he's getting targets, he's getting fed. Why not? Josh Downs too, 52% rostered, but like I just said, right? It's like,
Yeah.
but Josh Downs,
Yeah.
he's man-eating. So he's 52% roster. I know he's a little bit high, but just in case no one, if he's out there in some of your leagues, so if he's just hanging out there, go snag him up, get him in your leagues. I mean, he's gonna, Minshew, Downs to the Minshew is actually gonna be a thing now. So go out and get Downs. I mean, his target share is kind of been going up.
Absolutely. And Jay does the higher percentage too. Like I keep it under 20, but he does a couple of the higher percentage because sometimes there's people in your league that are asleep at the wheel. There really is.
Yeah.
And they'll let a guy like Josh Downs or Curtis Samuel or a lot of these guys just Minshew, whoever, they just slide under the radar and they're 50% rostered in Yahoo and Sleeper and you can just come right in and get them.
Yeah.
Because people, like I said, people are sleeping on Cam Akers. How is Cam Akers only 40%, 47% roster? Have you seen some of these running backs? Have you seen some of these, 1-2 week fill-in guys that we talk about? Cam Akers is like, he's a two-headed monster. They didn't trust Madison. That's why they brought in some help. You know what I mean? So yeah, absolutely. Akers and Downs, I love that.
Yeah. And I got Trey McBride. He's at 8%. So if you need tight end, I know you mentioned. I know Taysom Hill's kind of out there, but I'm not a fan of Taysom Hill. I'm just kind of. I'm
not interested.
Not interested in him, but Trey McBride, I am, just because Ertz is going to the IR. He's like, And
we say bye-bye.
So,
bye-bye.
So Trey McBride, his target share should be going up, especially with, Dobbs being there, and, Dobbs needs a safe blanket. McBride's going to be there. And honestly, we don't know when, if when Kyler Murray is coming back. He was kind of activated, so we don't know what's going to happen there. So in the meantime, Trey McBride he's just a safety blanket right now. And the Jets defense, they actually, the Jets defense 52% rostered, but they're at the Giants this week. They're at the freaking Giants. So. And they've been getting some sacks, getting some interceptions. I like the Jets defense this week.
Tyrod's in trouble.
Tyrod.
In trouble. Yeah, Jets. I think the Jets. Honestly, man, I think the Jets might be the best defensive play of the week. They really are. I mean, Giants. They scored 9 against the Bills. 14 in the win over Washington. Like they can't score the ball. So and then with all the the sacks, probably a couple picks, it's gonna get ugly. I got the Jets all over them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I that slipped my mind. I appreciate you bringing up Trey McBride. That I just slipped my mind about Ertz going to the IR. I forgot about that. So yeah, Trey McBride's actually a better play than So I have no problem with Trey McBride or Taysom for a tight end snag. McBride, definitely. If he's going to be the one and only feature Cardinals tight end with the way Josh Dobbs has been slinging it, worth the pickup. Absolutely.
Yep. That's why I was like, That's why I thought his value, he should be all right. All right. So that kind of covers the 10 to 12 man leagues. I know some of you guys play in those deeper leagues, like Eli and I, we play in those deeper leagues.
Deep cut.
Yes. Jake BoBo, 2% rostered. Why not? Especially if he's getting the targets and he's getting some receptions and some touchdowns up in there. Why not? Let's go pick him up, 2% rostered. Especially if you got Calvin Austin, from the Steelers, who's not really doing anything. And I had him slotted in a couple leagues, and he was kind of a bust that week. I was kind of frustrated, but he was kind of riser up and down too as well. But Jake BoBo, not a bad option. I said it. I just said it. Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
7% roster with with them maybe being, with them actually, having a bye this week, and maybe Zach Wilson and comes out, and I should have wrote down who they're playing. They're playing the Giants. So I think this and could be a game for him to kind of resurgence what he's been doing here. Give him a little bit more of a boost, saying that he's at least a quality, decent quarterback that can get the job done. And that's what I'm going to be looking at for Zach Wilson this weekend, to see if he can actually get the job done. Tyson Bagnet, we just talked about him earlier in the highlight. With Fields not being there this upcoming week, why not give Tyson Bagnet a look and see what happens? I was scouting the waiver wire, and I mean, if Minshew's out there, I think he might be your best bet. Maybe so. I would probably rank him Minshew, Wilson, and Bagnet that way in the waivers. Pierce Strong, 4% rostered with Ford more likely not playing for a couple weeks. Pierce Strong is not a bad ad behind Kareem Hunt. Not at all. And he actually he's good. He's legit. I mean, he's a decent running back, and he's a 1,000-yard running back from SCSU. So I mean, if he gets the opportunities, he can do things with the ball. And I mentioned earlier, Trey McBride is the other guy. And then the Chargers defense at 3%. I think they play the Panthers. I can't remember who they're playing. They're playing a weaker team. So I figured
they give up a lot of points, but there's always that potential because of how many studs they have on the defense that you can get points from sacks, maybe get a couple picks, especially with Bryce Young. If they confuse him a little bit, get a couple picks, force fumble, you can piece it. They're probably going to give up at least 20 points, even to Carolina. But, if you can piece it together, I mean, that's a hell of a deal, 3%.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So that's kind of the guys I thought in deeper leagues to actually try go and chase. Any thoughts on that, Eli?
Oh wait, the Chargers are playing the Bears. Whoops. But same logic though. Same logic.
Yeah.
Bagent had a couple. He's had a game and a half that have been good, but he's still a rookie. So there's always that potential. So yeah, take what I said about Bryce Young and the Panthers and change it over to the Bears. Same logic.
Yeah, that's probably why I was put them in there, because I was like, oh wait a minute, I got Bagent as for a pickup in deeper leagues, but yeah, I got the Chargers defense against the Bears. I was gonna write this. I was gonna write this down, but
a lie.
I was trying to wrap up everything and get everything together and whatnot. Finish up graphics and finish up the waiver wire, who I thought are good pickups for the week and whatnot. It was kind of getting down the wire, and I'm like, oh, well, it looks like the Chargers are going to be the defense to pick up this week.
Yeah. I like it. 3%. Yeah, that's you got a bye week defense. Yeah, if the Chargers defense is out there, absolutely, no matter what size league, go snag them up. It's a great matchup.
Yep.
Just do it.
All right. So I think that kind of covers our waiver section of everything. Just so we appreciate, if you guys got any comments or anything like that, leave them down below. If you thought we hit on some things, let us know. But yeah, this is our our out of rhythm fan. See, I even lost my train of thought there, because I was thinking of another segment, and I'm like trying to wrap up this segment, and I'm just like, I can't even talk tonight.
well, I think if you were wearing a Rangers hat, I think it would have been your clarity of mind would have been a little better. Yeah, congratulations. Just a little MLB note. Congratulations to the Rangers headed to the World Series. Is it Game 7? Is that tonight of the Phillies and Diamondbacks, or is that tomorrow?
Yeah, that's tonight. No, that's actually on tonight right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's probably going on right now. Yeah, we got some good bat. You got some Warriors and Suns, the late game in the NBA, and then you got D-backs and the Phillies. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to check a score update? And I'll get the
It is actually 3-2 right now.
We'll segue first. We'll segue into the college spotlight, but
before we get up out of there, Diamondbacks 3, Phillies 2, and then So, all right, guys, that was kind of our waivers.
Okay.
A little slight delay with a little sports update there, quick, and so we'll be right back after our sponsor. So stay tuned. Oh, hey, and we're back again. We're back again. Yeah. And welcome into our
Tag
college
team again.
welcome into our college segment of the week. If you joined us, it's been an hour and 30 some minutes. So we appreciate everybody that's actually here and joining us. And we're going to talk a little college prospects. It's that time where some of us guys are in dynasty and we want to look towards the future. And so this is our guy. Xavier Worthy is actually on the bill for the week.
Yes. And I'll clarify starting off that Jay's going to also do his analysis too. And he's probably going to have a couple different sources than I will. So if the receiver, if his weight is off, or if the prospect ranking is a little bit different, all these different outlets have different stuff. My preference is PFF. So it's usually what I go with. And then I use NFL Draft Buzz for like the latest mock draft to kind of give you guys an idea of where these guys might be headed, just based off the mid-October in the college season, like where they're projected at right now, because it's going to be different than it would have been 2 months ago before the season started. Use those products a ton; they're all great. Yeah, Donovan. I appreciate using our shampoo and our conditioner, and we got a whole line of stuff coming out. We need like an online store for all of our goodies. We'll start off with my main man, Xavier Worthy. This guy, big play threat, big play, a little slender, about 6'1", 172. So a little could use some extra weight, and I think they'll add it on the NFL. They'll probably pack on, probably another 10, 15 pounds once he gets to the pros. And so I used his NFL comp as Jameson Williams from the Lions. I know Jameson doesn't play a ton. I get it, with suspension and injury and all. There's been a lot of goofy stuff. But when the guy's on the field, the guy scored 3 touchdowns and he's had 6 catches, 3 touchdowns. That's efficiency right there. That's the kind of efficiency we're talking about with Xavier Worthy. I say that based on being able to get off the line, just the speed, 4.29 40 time. I mean, just blazer, just super fast. PFF has him ranked number 33 and the number 7. Yeah, the number 7 receiver. Right now, he's NFL Draft Buzz has him like the 30th, going 30th to probably Philly, somewhere in that range, which, I mean, that wouldn't be a bad spot. I don't think they need him. I mean, they already have Devontae Smith and AJ. I think, if he's, late first round pick, I think the Chiefs could use him. Team him up with Rashee Rice, get rid of some of these scrubs they have, like Sky Moore. Get him out of here. Guy's awful.
Hardman.
You can't.
It's hard.
Yeah, but
Hardman.
Mecole Hardman. Yeah, he's another scrubby guy that gets look MVS. These guys all get looks because it's Mahomes. Like anywhere else, they're scrubs. They just are. MVS had his moment in the sun. Get him out of here. One good game. Out of here. But last year at Texas, like he doesn't have a crazy stat line or anything. Had 60 grabs, a little less than 800 yards, 9 touchdowns last year. The average, not that great. But I think it's going to translate to the NFL more, even this year. 34 grabs, about 450 yards receiving, a couple touchdowns. He had a big game against OU at 8 grabs, 108 yards in that Oklahoma loss. But I think they're thinking that this is going to translate more. Like he's not one of these big stat college guys that's going to, like Jake Bobo. I mean, Jake Bobo put up over 700 yards at UCLA. He didn't put up a 1,400 yard, 17 touchdown season, because we've seen. I mean, what's Quentin Johnston doing? Quentin Johnston had a huge stat line at TCU, and he ain't doing shit for the Chargers right now. So just you look at the numbers, they're kind of pedestrian. But just ignore that. Go watch him on YouTube. Go watch some of the clips. Guy is a burner. He's got strength. Just he's got the total package. I really think, and I think he's going to be a steal. If he's an early second round pick, late first round pick, I think that's where he belongs. He's not Harrison Jr. He's not Neighbors, who we talked about last week. He's not one of those guys. Odunze from Washington, he's not one of those guys. But being the 30th to 45th pick, somewhere in there, I think he'd find a nice spot. Kind of like Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed was a second round pick from the Packers.
Yeah.
I think they're different players, but you get the draft position, like with a kind of impact player he could be his rookie season, something like a Jaden Reed. But I think like body type, skill set, it's more in line with Jamison Williams from the Lions.
Yeah, it's not it's pretty close. I mean, he's 5'11". I think Jamison Williams is a little bit taller. I think he's like 6'1", I believe. I didn't get his specs, but I think he might.
They're both 6'1".
Oh, so the information I got, he's like 5'11", but maybe he's different height wise. But yeah, I wasn't sure what I got, and he was 5'11", but maybe he's 6'1". I'm not sure offhand, but yeah, I mean, with Worthy being actually in his Texas passing game, they're 10th overall with 468 yards per game, which is it's not shabby at all. It's not bad. Right now he's only 40. Actually, country wise, he's top 34. He has 545 yards receiving, which is you would think he would be a little bit better than what he has now. You would think he would have at least 600, 700 yards with his capabilities in this Texas offense, but with them not having their main QB now, I mean, they're gonna have to go with a different backup quarterback now, because they might be putting in the Archie to the Manning or one of the other guys now. So I don't know if his production wise will dip because of that now. But overall total, he's seen 40 receptions total through 2023. But he's actually 32nd in the country for receptions per game at 5. So I mean, he's seeing a little bit. I mean, I would like to see that actually being more. Receiving game about 77 yards per game.
Yeah, I was gonna say quick. I was gonna say quick, Jay. My stats are from the previous game, so that's my fault. I didn't get his last game in there, so it's not 453, it's 545, like Jay said, and he's got 4 touchdowns instead of 3. So that wasn't including their most recent game from this past weekend.
Yeah. So I mean, from what I've seen, the only standout game he actually had was the game at Oklahoma with a 108-yard game, no touchdown in that one. So I mean, that's the only game I've seen so far that he stand out. He had over 100 yards, and I would figure this guy would be a double reception, or not a double touchdown kind of guy. But his yards per catch is 13.63, which is 46th in the country. So I mean, this guy is in the top 50 in the country for what his stat wise, being with Texas. I would like to see him do a little bit more, but I mean, that's just me, for being a dynasty guy. Looking at him, is like, is he worth for me to draft him in our rookie draft? More than likely. On Draft Buzz, that's kind of one of my favorite places to kind of look at for all these guys. When you're scouting the webs, I think that's, for me, I like that site myself. They have him ranked 4th. So he's behind Marvin Harrison, Emeka Buka, and Leon Coleman from Florida State. But overall rank, he's actually 16th. But in the wide receiver rank, he's number 4th. So I mean, he could be he's probably a first rounder, but maybe in that mid tierish, probably more than likely. So I mean, he could probably, this guy could land maybe with the Bengals, Steelers. I hate to say it, but maybe the Ravens. So I mean, if they fall in those, could be some possible landing candidates. I'm just trying to take a good gander overall. Even though his weaknesses are, he's a small frame kind of guy. He's kind of more of an intermediate wide receiver. I mean, he's not the deep threat kind of a guy. But probably when he gets to the NFL, he'll probably end up bulking up some. So I mean, that should help his stature a little bit. So hopefully that he's only 20 years old too. I mean, he's a young kid, so he hasn't put on the muscle mass that most of these wide receivers end up putting on when they go to the NFL. The plus side, I mean, he's got excellent ball skills, tracking ball skills. He's pretty much aware of his surroundings. So I mean, he'll leave enough room for a good catch between the sidelines and stuff like that. So he'll leave himself enough space for good sweet catches for those highlight reels, that you see on ESPN or whatever. And he's a skill route, his skill route. He's a skill route runner. So I mean, he's good. Not bad overall. Just kind of digging into him. Everyone's gonna have a few weaknesses and plus sides to them all. I mean, that's just the part of the game, and digging into these prospects and stuff like that, and see what offenses they best fit into and whatnot, and depends on if the team matchup works for them as well.
I think he'd be scary in Miami. If you at least 1 year of Tyreek, Waddle, and Worthy. That sounds like a law firm. Hill, Waddle, and Worthy. That would be the kind of you think the running backs have speed. Yeah, you think the two running backs got speed. You put these three receivers out there. And Miami's realistic. I mean, they might make a deep run in the playoffs. You know what I mean? They might, if his stock keeps rising, at the combine and maybe second half of the year with Texas, he has a good bowl game, has a good, maybe he goes 28th to Miami. If the Dolphins make the divisional or AFC title game or something, somewhere in that range, I think he'd be lethal, and they'd be stupid not to. I know they want help on the defense. I get it, but I mean, that's just the explosion, kind of like what Minnesota is doing. I mean, you get explosive receivers, or even like you were saying, Cincinnati to replace Higgins. If Cincinnati kind of gets out of that range, that neighbor's range, or Coleman from Florida State, kind of one of those guys, if they fall to the end of the first round, Worthy be a great replacement for T. Higgins. Yeah, him and Chase. Yeah. I like some of these combos here.
Yeah, I know it's getting to be way too many. We'll answer some questions in the chat here in just a moment. We're just about done wrapping this up, and then we'll answer some of your guys' questions here quick too before we jump on off and get to the rest of our lives after this. But yeah, I think that kind of covers everything. I mean, Worthy is high draft pick this upcoming year. But yeah, I kind of like what he's seeing. I don't know. I'm gonna have to see where he lands first of all, and then I think we'll end up diving into him this summer. So I mean, this is something we'll probably dive into this summer, and I just, as of right now, I'd like to see more from Worthy, just stat wise, and see if his production kind of boosts up a little bit, or if it falls off a little bit. With the change of quarterback coming in now.
He did have 12 touchdowns as a freshman though, so he is capable of putting up some high TD numbers.
Yeah, I did see that too. I mean, the last couple of years weren't double digits, but I think the year before he had maybe 9. I think somewhere on there. So it kind of dipped off. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that was the quarterback play from the year before too as well. I think he ended up transferring out or got drafted, or one of those two. I can't remember exactly, but I mean, other than that, I think that wraps up our whole Xavier Worthy NFL comp. So we appreciate everybody joining in and tuning in to our comp of our Emerson Williams to Xavier Worthy. And now we'll answer a couple questions before we jump up out of here.
While Jay's thinking of that, if you guys are interested in next week's show, we'll be doing the college spotlight again. We'll be talking about Blake Corum, running back from Michigan. You know, he's a higher profile name, especially last year. His draft stock would have been a lot higher in 20. You know, he had to come out in 2022. So, but yeah, or after last season, I should say. So Corum and Michigan, we'll be talking about him. Yeah, oh yeah. We'll get back into the running back room and talk some running back. So Blake Corum from Michigan will be up next on deck.
Yes. Donovan actually says Donovan says McBride is definitely a number one pickup there. Team issues pending. Yeah, let me mention that too as well. Cohen, it's nice to see you. His question is, my tight end is Logan Thomas. Should I spend a good amount of fab on Dalton Kincaid? And he also goes
no.
to say he has $50 of $200 remaining on his fab. $50.
No,
for
not on Kincaid. There's not that, honestly. Maybe in a couple of years, you know, there'll be a gap. Like Kincaid would have, you know, expanded himself into the top 10 range. But right now he's a rookie. And he had a couple good games, but he's been banged up too. I don't think there's that big of a difference right now at this moment between Logan Thomas and Kincaid. I wouldn't do that.
I mean, if he's probably wondering if he wants to pick up another tight end for just in case Logan he wants to swap out another person. Donovan says he would actually spend McBride over McKenna, and I was just actually going to say that too. If you didn't catch our waivers, we mentioned McBride. He actually Ertz is actually going on IR for 4 weeks, which in turn will help McBride's targets go up. And that's probably what direction I would go. I mean, if you didn't draft Kincaid already and you've been holding on to him, some of us, I've been debating if I should drop him because I still have Kincaid in some of my a few of my leagues. And I'm debating on dropping him, even though this was one game. I would actually have to see another game like this to actually say he's relevant for fantasy.
I think in a deeper league, 16-man, hold on to him. But if you have him in a 10 or a 12, you can find a comparable tight end like that's available. 10 or a 12, I would, if it's a redraft year to year, I would drop Kincaid. Absolutely. I don't think. McBride's just as good of an option, and he's available. And we were just talking about that. He's pretty much available in any size league. So, and you don't have to spend anything. Yeah. So,
I mean, if you want to try to get Kincaid, $10, I'd maybe try to bid to see if you can actually get him. I wouldn't use the rest of your $50 bid on him. Maybe throw a couple. Maybe if you wanted to throw a couple dollars on him and see if you can get him. I wouldn't be heartbroken, but I would probably try to chase McBride myself. And I would, if you never know, somebody might drop a tight end. So maybe without having to use your rest of your budget there could be another guy you could probably just pick up without using your budget because we got the rest of the year coming up too as well. I know I've been trying to watch my budget here too as well, just because second half has come in and there might be a guy you might pass up on because you have no budget. But I would maybe just toss a couple dollars if you need it, but I would look at McBride. That's just me though.
Yeah, because there's more tight ends out there. If this was a running back, if this was like a hot running back that you had to have, and you had probably 8 other guys in your league bidding for, then yeah, I get throwing 30 of your 50 at something like that, and like, hey, I gotta get this one. This is a game changer. Dalton Kincaid's not a game changer this year, so I like Jay was saying, $10 or less. You're gonna go that route, like.
Yeah, I wouldn't try to spend too much on him. That's just me though, because I already have him in some leagues, and I'm kind of hesitating on actually dropping him because I'm like he's kind of almost wasting his space. But I mean, this was a good outing to see from him. But I like to see maybe one more to actually say he's slop him in your week for your week. But I hope that kind of helps you out, Cohen. Appreciate you actually coming back again. Nice seeing you. Yes. Hope you come back again next Tuesday. Maybe jump in here a little bit earlier. I don't know if you work or what, but jump in and come back and jump in the show a little bit earlier. You know, come and join the chat. Donovan's here out most times, so chit chat with him in the live chat below. But yeah, I think that kind of wraps up everything. We already kind of gone long. We tried to make it a shorter show this time, but with us, it ends up going to be a little bit longer than normal.
Yep.
But I will. So if you guys don't want to catch everything, time codes will be in after the show, and yeah, I think that kind of covers everything. Is there anything else you want to say quick before we get up out of here?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I want to just say thank everybody for tuning in. You know, as always, you know, we always have a good time here. And like I said, you can go back, like I was saying at the beginning of the show, you can go back, you can watch some of the old episodes, especially a lot of the good content from this summer. You know, and we're, like I said, we are being proven more and more right as the weeks go on with a lot of these guys. We saw it. We did. We went Nostradamus. We saw a lot of this stuff coming. So go and check out a lot of that stuff. And Spotify is just our personal preference. So Spotify is probably the easiest place, or, you know, YouTube, something like that. But yeah, if you want a little preview for next week, Blake Corum, run back from Michigan. We're gonna dive into him, do some week 9 DFS bargains. You're gonna run it back again. You'll do some more waivers, baby. You know, midway point of the season, you see where your fantasy team is at. You know, you got to make some deal. You know, wheel and deal a little bit. I think the fantasy trading deadline's Halloween, isn't it?
I'm not sure. You have to look at some of your
Like
leagues too as well. Yeah.
Well, let's just say most leagues, the trading deadline's next week, so that'll be big too when we talk waivers. Yep. We'll get on to that next week. So it'll be a big show. And we're actually going to do a special edition. We're going to do a Monday. We're doing Monday next week because Halloween, you know, we let you guys spend time with your kids or your family, go out trick-or-treating if you got younger ones. And so we're going to do a special edition Monday show. So we'll kind of talk, you know, the Monday Night Football game will be going on during our show. So we'll try to work that in a little bit too. But yeah, definitely trade deadlines coming up. Week 9 waivers, DFS bargains. You know, somebody's going to pop. It always happens. There'll be somebody under the radar that we didn't see coming. So, and we'll talk about them. I'll give out my gold star, and you know, we'll run this back again. But yeah, I want to thank everybody for tuning in.
Yep. I'm sorry there was no Ghostin segment this week, just because the week was kind of crappy, and some other stuff I wanted to put my attention to.
We'll have time next week. We'll have time next week. You know, Jay, yeah, we'll bring back. We know everybody loves the Ghostin segment. I do, so we'll bring that puppy back.
All right, guys, we appreciate it. We appreciate everybody's time. Thank you for joining the live chat, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday. So I'm Jamie. That's Eli. We're out of rhythm.
Monday, Jay.
Oh, Monday. Okay, sounds good.
Yep.
All right, we'll see you guys next Monday then. So until then, stay tuned. Get that bell, like, subscribe. We'll see you guys later.
Yeah.